just waiting on that presentation. So whilst that's getting ready, thanks Paul for that intro. I must admit, it is a bit strange, isn't it? I kicked off this morning. Somebody said to me, David, you've started at the front end and now you're coming to us at the back end. I don't necessarily think that's a very friendly description. I like to think that we started with the entree and now we're finishing with the dessert. So my job is actually to keep you a little bit awake because there is drinks coming and there is a panel. But I've got a pretty amazing story to tell you. Now, why am I presenting? The CEO actually had some surgery just a few days ago, so he can't present. His office is only just 2 offices away from mine. You can assume that I'm pretty hands-on and recently have returned from Chile, so I can tell you about the site. So there's our normal disclaimer. There's our umpire disclaimers. For those, now I know I'm probably going to upset half the audience who are probably Port Adelaide supporters, but we are going to go watch the Adelaide game shortly, so I do hope that the gentlemen on the right have removed their glasses for you. And as a Fremantle Dockers supporter who does not have a premiership, we do sympathise. So what am I going to talk about today? I want to leave you with some really clear messages. I'm not a geologist, so we're not going to go into really deep geology, but what I want to leave you with a message is grade. So first of all, grade. So when we talk about our resources today, our silver gold deposit has a cut-off grade of 200 grams per tonne. 200 grams per tonne cut-off. And that's because our resources are only measured on an underground basis. We haven't even looked yet at an open pit. And we think of the journey that we've been on. We've had this asset for around 15 months. We started with a 25 million ounce resource, and 15 months later, we're at 111 million ounce resource with higher grade than when we started and with 2 new discoveries. So it's been a pretty amazing growth trajectory. The commodity, I think, what a number of people don't necessarily understand, and we are trying to educate the market, 111 million ounces of silver equivalent, what's actually contained in there is 800,000 ounces of gold. We actually don't get that gold premium in our stock, and so that's something that we are going to be working on and highlighting to people is the amount of gold in this system. So if you were to break that 111 million ounces down of silver equivalent, it's about 46 million of silver and the balance of gold. So just bear that in mind. And you would have heard an earlier presentation that there's a disconnect at the moment between the historical gold to silver ratio. So historically, it's about 65 to 1 is the ratio. It's currently around 100 to 1. So if you're investing in a silver company and you expect that ratio to go back to mean, there should be an automatic uplift. Now the team involved here have discovered mines and built mines. So we're talking people from Firefly, Northern Star, Saracen, Kidman, Ramelius, Mincor. We've all been on that discovery journey. We've all been in the production journey, and we've also all been in the M&A journey. We are asset rich with infrastructure. And remember, we're in the south part of Chile. So we're not in the northern part where you hear lots of issues around weather conditions, unions, no access to water. We're only 400 metres above sea level. We've got access to 800 litres of fresh water per minute, and we get minimal snow. So it is a real friendly mining area, and we're only 10 minutes away from a mining town. So it's a great place to be. And as I said earlier, we've already made a couple of discoveries. So a little bit on share price performance, and I won't labour on it, but 2 weeks ago we were $1.35. Nothing's changed, and we're 90 cents today. And I think Darren Cook at Firefly showed a slide earlier today where he talked about buying on the dip. So there's always an opportunity to buy on the dip. We do have 3 research analysts covering us, and this story is really well understood in North America. Not so much Australia, because you tend to see silver with lead as a byproduct, whereas this is a pure silver gold story only, no base metals. We will ultimately be selling a concentrate into the market. So our largest shareholder, 1832, who's a resource investor, came to site. They owned 1%. When they went to site, they left site, they owned 11%. So this is probably one of the most remarkable areas that I've actually ever visited in my career, not being a geologist, but just as a little side story, I did put the XRF or the night-on gun on one of the veins, and I did hit 35,850 grams per tonne silver. So geology, it's not that tough. So silver, as we all know, and you should be aware, big growth within solar panels. There is a shortage that was talked about earlier. I won't go through that too much, but also data centres and solid-state batteries is a growth area outside of being a storage of value. So what I'm going to talk about is, we generally refer to it as a Cerro Bay mine, and we break it up into two districts, and there are multiple veins in there. But hey, who wouldn't want to go to that place? Look how beautiful that looks. We've got 400 square kilometres. Over in the background where you can see the snow, that's not our area, that's on the other side of the lake, which is actually Argentina. And across the border in Argentina, on the same geological trend, you've got Newmont, you've got Pan American Silver, you've got all the major silver producers. We are the only silver company on the Chilean side of the border. We have a 500,000 tonne mill, which we have on warm idle. It turns over every 2 weeks. You can see the infrastructure there in the background. You can actually see the tailings. The tailings itself is an interesting story in that it's permitted for many years. However, we've got the government who want to use that for road base. So they're going to pay to take our tailings away to use it for road base. It is that benign. We have a great social licence there. The township absolutely want this up and running. We are the main GDP and employer for this area. So look, this is a really busy slide. I'm not going to go through everything, but it's more about, if you're an investor, you want to look at the risks, because I can stand up here and you can listen to me and say, oh yeah, sure, David, I've heard that all before. Every MD says we're a screaming buy, we're undervalued, feel sorry for me, go buy our stock. Okay, but what you've really got to look at is, okay, well, what are the risks? Okay, so I'm an accountant by background, insolvency and reconstruction is where I learnt. So it's very much about risk. What's the downside? What have we covered off? So we've already shown within a very short time that we've grown the resource 4 times. We're unhedged. It's got historic production. We understand the payabilities. We understand the metallurgy. It is one of the few mines in Chile that actually did its own permit voluntarily, and that permit holds today. So we can restart tomorrow, but we're not. We're building up the resource because we're ultimately likely to increase the size of the mill. The mining has been going on there for many years. Core Mining was the original builder, and it was very profitable at $10 silver. $10 silver. So people have been here for 30 years, but yet we've walked around 20 metres off a main road and made discoveries and now put them into resource. And there's a couple more slides that I want to show you about the exploration, which just shows that this, according to some other research analysts, has the potential to be a plus 300 million ounce camp, which makes it globally significant. So there you can see some of the infrastructure. That mill looks in such great condition because it's effectively fed by snowmelt. That's where we get the 800 litres a minute of fresh water. And so that is in great nick. As I said, it's turned over. We've got 3 times the amount of installed power that we need. As I said, it's ready to go. And to the left of the infrastructure down the bottom is an open pit resource that we have, which to put into gold equivalent basis is about 2.1 grams per tonne gold. The strip ratio is 0.8 to 1. 100 metres away from the crush. So this will be a baseload feed. There's about 25 million ounces of silver in there. That will be a baseload feed with the underground. So look, what we've got here is multiple veining systems, and I'm just going to point out a couple of things. You can see there up the top, Pegaso 7 and Cristal. Those are two discoveries that we've made within 2 kilometres of the mill. Our geologists walked, as I said, a few metres off the road, found these veins, and we've followed them with drilling, and guess what? We've got a resource already, which is pretty amazing. And then also within the Cerro district, there's the historic Cerro mine, which produced hundreds of thousands of ounces of extremely high grade gold. All those red lines that you can see there are mineralised outcrops, mineralised silver veins. But then you can see this large area in the middle, which there's no veins. Now, why is that? It's because they're not outcropping. It's sitting below a flat-lying surface. And guess what? Because it's not outcropping, no one's actually looked there in history. Well, if you've got veins to the south, veins to the north, and a flat-lying space in the middle, where do you think some mineralisation may be hiding? And we've got some geophysics, which I'm going to show you very shortly. So we're exceptionally excited, and especially when you see some of the grades in these deposits. Actually, I'm going to go back because some of the grades that I'm talking about, for instance, within the Claudia Rail West, we've got rock chips up around 20,000 grams per tonne silver. And even going back to Cristal, within Cristal, the deepest hole, and the deepest hole here is 300 metres, okay? Nothing beyond 300 metres. It's got around 3 metres at 4,000 grams per tonne silver. So you can see the grade here is absolutely stunning. You don't often come across these types of deposits in your career. And to be quite honest, I actually bullied my way to get onto this board when I saw the potential of this asset. And we are all shareholders, so we're very motivated along with everyone else. Now, this is a bubble chart, which unfortunately the ASX won't allow me to put my bubble onto it. So I'm going to let you imagine where our bubble sits. We started at the far left at 25 million ounces at about 200 grams per tonne. We're now towards the left of the right-hand box, if that makes any sense. So we're the 150 to 200. We're starting to encroach on that area. Those North American silver companies are worth $1 billion. We're sitting here today with a market cap of around $130 million. So what you can see here is the opportunity to create significant wealth for shareholders. And being a Ramelius director, I like to describe this as the Spartan of silver. Okay, so think of this as the Spartan of silver. It has the grade. It has the underground deposits, has the open pit, has the infrastructure in place. We have got all the majors sitting around us wanting to come to site. One of the biggest challenges our geologists face, and I know you think, Jesus, David, you sound like an absolute promoter, but this is actually true. When we've gone through our risk workshops, we got actually too many targets. Now, I know that sounds like I'm pushing the envelope, but the reason that it's a risk is that you'll focus on the wrong targets. And we have got so many targets here, we have to make sure that we control our geologists. We've got 3 drill rigs. But what I think we've shown, we've spent that money responsibly. You know, to be able to, again, take a resource within 15 months at a 200 gram per tonne cut-off from 25 million ounces to 111 million ounces is a pretty amazing story. So what you can expect from us is news flow. Okay, so we've delivered the 111 million ounce bang on target. We said when we announced it, we did it when we said we were going to deliver that resource. So we've hit all of our milestones. Expect to see some more drilling results from Cristal. and expect to see, there's another one called Coeta, and I purposely haven't put all of these on because I want you to go and look at the full presentation on our website. But you will see there again intersections in the thousands of grams per tonne silver, thousands of grams, including gold intersections up to 20 grams per tonne. So you will be truly amazed at this opportunity. And on that note, I have finished. Thank you very much.